Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Number one team in the country at home hold Creighton to 48 points. Goodman, I know it kills you. I know you hate to see other people happy when their teams win. And I know it drives you insane because these UConn fans, Mr. Hotballs, you're not a big fan of him. But the Huskies, I have my takes on this game and I have my opinions on this game. And I'm going to wait and let you guys say what you got to say first. But I thought that was a very, very impressive performance, particularly on the defensive end of the floor. Goodman, UConn 62, Creighton 48. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Man, they're effing good. I hate to have you on this show. I mean, that's the only thing. If it was like me, Doug, and anybody else, it would be an awesome show tonight. But because I have to say good things, I'm just going to look at Doug as I say all the good things about the UConn Huskies. I love this team. I mean, I do. I love this team because they play the right way. They play hard as shit. They're well coached. They're mentally tough and they're physically tough. And now you're bringing in Donovan Clingan into the fold. And, you know, he played about 15 minutes tonight. And he's diving on the floor, like literally like laying. And every time he falls to the floor, I'm like, oh, man. And his legs are going everywhere. His foot's falling in kind of a weird spot. And I'm like, no, do not dive. Just honestly, just protect yourself. But this team, they might be the front runners to win the whole thing. Like they might be a quarter of a step above Purdue when I look at them and I say, if they have a healthy Donovan Clingan. And that's going to be the key to me, Danny Hurley, getting him back in shape, but protecting him so he's healthy when it matters most.
Doug, go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, like, I knew you had that shit-eating grin on your face, but you wanted to talk about Dauster, and you should. First thing is, you know, Danny took to Twitter to thank Campbell. That was awesome, that atmosphere. And it's kind of a cool thing when you get the snowstorm in the Northeast where, you know, and this is why having an on-campus facility and college basketball is special because even when no one else can get there, the students can get there, you know? And they were camping out and it was like 17 degrees. So obviously it helps when you win a national championship, but that play, I don't think that was a hard place to win for a lot of people tonight. And they weren't, UConn wasn't great offensively. Castle didn't play great offensively, but they just like Creighton's a hard team to guard because they usually put 3 to 4 out there that can really score. And I thought they did a great job of running them off the line and pressuring them 6 for 26 from 3. I mean, that's how you beat Creighton. And you know, Creighton didn't shoot good from 2. Shoot well from 2 either. So I thought their defense was championship level. I thought the crowd was championship level. And, you know, this feels – I know the second Butler team didn't win the national title, but when we look back over, like, amazing stuff in college basketball, the fact that after losing Gordon Hayward, they went back to the national championship game, lost ironically to UConn, right? That's kind of the feel I get from this team, which is like, you know, they don't have a Jordan Hawkins. You don't have as much – true offensive production as you had last year at the 5 because Klingan's been in and out of the lineup, but he's not as developed an offensive player. But this may be an equally good team, right? They're really a team. And being able to win a game in your 60s when you don't shoot well, and granted, I don't think Creighton's nearly what their preseason building would have told you, but that doesn't matter. This is about UConn. Consider me impressed. I mean, can you win a game in the mud? Lots of teams with talent can win games in the 80s and 90s. Can you win a game in the mud? And their answer is yes. That was a good win.
Yeah, the thing that really impressed me, Doug, was the effort on the defensive end of the floor. The knock on this team, to me, is their ability to stop penetration with guards that are able to get to the rim and get to the basket, right? Their ability to chase people off of screens. Cam Spencer, Tristan Newton, Alex Karaban, I think even Solo Ball you could put in that conversation, are not great perimeter defenders. They're fine. They're good positionally. They know how to rotate and scramble and follow a scouting report. But if you just got them isolated on an island, that's not what their strength is. And we saw that when they didn't have Clingan on the floor. You know, they people get to the rim. You don't have the Great Wall of Bristol there erasing everything around the basket. And having him back certainly helped. But I thought their ability to run Creighton out of what they wanted to run. Like they blew up every ball screen. They were able to kind of take Creighton out of the sets. They were able to take them out of the shots that get created simply by Greg McDermott having a really creative offensive mind. I thought that was impressive. And then the second thing is it was probably the first time that they really did this season that I can remember is they went with the extreme hard hedge with Samson Johnson on ball screens whenever he was in the game, right? And they just doubled the ball handler. They got the tagger where he needed to be. They cut off that pass to the sideline, and they basically just said, you can make that pass to the opposite side quarter with two athletic dudes in your face. Great. You got to open three if you can make that happen. And then they played drop with Donovan Clingan. And I thought what made them such a difficult matchup last year was that they could guard you two different ways defensively in ball screens and were elite at both of them with the Dama Sonogo edging hard and Donovan Clingan playing drop. And I think for the most part, they tried to get away playing drop with Samson Johnson, and it just didn't work as well. So I'm very curious to see where this trend moves forward for UConn. I thought that was the most promising sign. And look, if they're going to guard
some of you brought up there, like, I don't know if people, and I think obviously this show is different than your average college basketball show, your average college basketball podcast, but to have different ball screen coverages based upon your personnel is really advanced stuff. And this is where losing Clingan for a short period of time helps you, because it develops, because there's going to be a time in the NCAA tournament where he's going to have 2 or 3 fouls in the first half and you're going to have to play without him. And now they've shown they can play without him for games, and they can change how they want to cover a ball screen. And that takes really smart, connected players. And look, I agree with you in terms of, guys, in terms of, can Cam Spencer defend the ball? Probably not his strength. But now you have two different types of bigs behind you. And obviously when you have Clingan, and look, like, Creighton's not the hardest to defend. It takes athletic toughness no, they have one guy on that team that can break down a defense. That's Trey Alexander, right? That's the flaw of this team. They kind of throw 4 out there that can really play, and they're struggling to find a 5th guy. And of those 4, really only one can break down a defense. But again, like, I can't emphasize enough what you said there, Rob, which is accurate, which is they're operating with 2 different ball screen coverages based upon personnel. And while that seems super easy to us to sit here and go like, all right, well, when you got Clingan in there, you're going to the drop. When you don't, you're going to a hard hedge. Like, okay, but it all has to work together. And one that's really hard with young players.
It's rare to be elite at both of them too. Like, that's the thing. The teams normally drill one style of defending a ball screen. To be elite at both of them, that, to me, that's the thing that stands out. It's not even what the offense is doing. It's just it's difficult to be able to have your players capable of doing those two things. And I mean, to me,
right.
You haven't had Clingan for most of the year. That's the impressive part. You haven't practiced with him or had him for a lot of it.
But remember, Jeff, what Rob's talking about is, it's not, we have a tendency, okay, to just look at big guy and point guard, and that's all ball screen coverage matters. Like, it doesn't. Right? If you're hard hedging, now all of a sudden, somebody's got to be, somebody's got to be tagging the roller, and then you have, usually based upon what your numbers on the weak side are, who am I going to get? Whereas when you're playing in the drop, now you're staying home most of the time. You're maybe getting a foot in the lane. So everything is affected based upon how that big guy is playing, and it affects how the point guard guards the ball and everything else. So it's really impressive to see a team that connected and have the ability to play multiple defensive styles in the same game. That's very rare in college basketball.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.